objects in the sky. We don't know exactly what they are.
Of landing a man on the moon, and
Have anyone been murdered?
I have to be careful asking that question.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Your eyes is useless when your mind is blind.
All right, truth seekers, it is Thursday. What is the date today? And I think it's July 31st. Well, anyway, we're getting ready to go into that August month, and very hot here in Texas. But today we got a hot topic that we're going to talk about is Project Blue Book. Now, this has probably been around quite some time. As you know, Blue Book was one of the staples of the government when they claimed that they wanted to study the phenomena that was out there with UFOs, aliens, and extraterrestrials, and any other cryptid things that was coming along the way. However, if you start watching some of the movies, the documentations of it, you know it was a fugazi for the public and how they did it. In fact, you know, if you think about it, with my opening notes here, basically they lied to your parents, they lied to your grandparents, and they're still lying to you today when we talk about disclosure, and you know how I feel about that. Now, Blue Book wasn't an investigation that most people said. It was a psychological weapon to cover up the story. Now, when you start looking back at Blue Book, you know, the government-sponsored magic trick designed to make you question sanity, why they were already reverse engineering alien tech behind closed doors. It's like they knew what they were doing, and they pretty much done that. But anyway, they told the public that they were studying UFOs. Behind the scenes is what they was doing. They were silencing whistleblowers. If you start looking at even in the movie, Hynek and all that, faking reports, destroying the one document that proved that extraterrestrials was real, or the estimate of the situations. And I mean, a lot of stuff was burnt, vanished. Remember, they had a lot of stuff. Even when it came down to Roswell was just a weather balloon, or while they secretly recovered not just one, but two down alien crafts, alien bodies, alien messages, and alien warnings that went ignored. And they hoarded all of this technology that they could probably cure diseases, would have ended hunger and changed the fate of humanity, but chose secrecy, control, war instead. And so this is where it leads us. So hopefully today we're going to have a great conversation for you, and you're into what we're talking about today. And I want to welcome you to the show tonight, Truth versus Authority. And as always, you could have been any other place tonight. You chose to be right here, right now. Because anyway, if you remember, they even trained their investigators to lie. I mean, like Colonel, I think Richard French, that was the guy's name, who admitted that he was ordered to write fake reports while watching aliens work underground, underwater. He was seeing this stuff. They explain away high-speed crafts pulling impossible G-forces and weather. And even though we still have accounts of those today, and so that particular project was so deep, and I can continue. UFOs that shut down nuclear bases was ignored when you talk about some of the reports in the Project Blue Book. And when the truth got close, they shut it down. They put like these fake scientific panels and the condom committee. And I'm going through a lot of this tonight to put it out there. While they had over 700 cases that reminded that they kind of labeled officially unexplained. They had things that flies. I mean, man, they were so deep into this. And like I said, even after they had creatures seen walking near landed craft, they erased that. They had graves who said they fed on blood and water. Classified, stamped, all this stuff. So the question will be, when we go through this conversation tonight, why did these beings mimic human soldiers? Because you can't remember that was in the report too. And why did they walk into craft disguised into what they call military uniforms? A lot of these people had uniforms on and everything else. In fact, the TV show like Project Blue Book started sneaking in MJ-12 narratives. You remember Men in Black? So it's like even what they wanted us to see, they put those things in perspective, and that's how they wanted to do. So anyway, stay with me tonight because I got 20 things that we're going to discuss. We're going to be here a while tonight, have a great conversation for us that we're going to get into this. And by the end of this expose, that's what I'm going to call it, I'm going to walk you through some things that I think they bear, some conversations that we're going to have, and I'm just going to hit them right into the middle of it, and so that we dive right into it. So hope you're ready for that tonight, and you should be, because we're going to have a great conversation. So with that being said, let us get into the conversation tonight. Shout out to those of you in the chat already. I would have been here a little sooner, right on time. I was a minute late because I was talking with Judith on the phone. And I was begging her. I was like, hey, my friend, I got to go. She's like, Roderick, talk to the dog, blah, blah, blah. I'm just kidding about the dog part. But we and her was having a great conversation, and so I told her, I'm going to let them know. I'm a minute late. And but really, we're on time. So anyway, so y'all give a shout out to Judith for making sure all is well in the camp. All right, so we're going to start with number one. I have 20 things that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to go through all 20 tonight, no matter how long that it takes. Okay, I'm sure it's going to be over an hour. I'm sure we may be here a couple of hours tonight. So if you're prepared to do that, it's going to be great, worth your time that we do. Number one, the ultimate deception was Project Blue Book, and most people call it a fraud. I agree with them. In fact, I would always said, like the comment, don't let them fool you, right? Project Blue Book was not a legitimate investigation. It just wasn't. It was a total, absolute fraud. In fact, it was taken over by the CIA, as you would know, to be used as a debunking tool. And their goal was to prevent, at that time, the KGB, and more importantly, you, me, all of us truth seekers, the American public, from discovering alien technology secrets. And the governments was getting from down UFOs at that time, and they had captured aliens because, we start finding the documents, and this is why they didn't want you to know the truth about what was really happening. So we're going to go into that. So to go into that part, the ultimate deception, I'm going to call Project Blue Book. And so the first question that I will throw out at you, and we can answer these together, one of 20. We got not 20 questions, but 20 things with questions, okay, that I thought that just stood out. And as for a community, we can talk about that as well. The first one was, why would the CIA hijack a public military project under the disguise of transparency? That is probably the question. Anyone can answer that question. Why don't you put it in the chat? We'll make it interactive tonight. If not, I'll give you my interpretation, my worldview, so that you know why I think they would hijack a public military project under the disguise of transparency. And, little squeaky people, the CIA, the three-letter words, but Dr. Strange says so we can look. Oh, so they say we looked and found nothing, probably right off the bat. And in my part, an answer with that, because they needed a smoke screen, just like you said, Dr. Strange, to hide, reverse engineer operation and manipulate both the enemy and the American public through controlled disinformation. And I don't think people seem to understand that there's a higher protocol when it comes down to these things like Project Blue Book and alien conversations or hidden technology, because there is a purpose behind it. And so when you start thinking about the military apparatus side of things, then you already know the control system is in place. The other part was, why was the truth such a threat that it required a total narrative control? And I think we both probably kind of hinted at a little bit, but I would also say that there's a reason for that. There was a huge reason why such a threat required a narrative control. Now, we all know we can speculate on a lot of things that comes down the pipeline if you start talking about aliens and UFOs and all of these things, right? I mean, try to have that conversation with somebody today and see exactly where that thing goes, right? And it changes it a lot. But I would also say, because once people saw UFOs as real, it would unravel the trust in the government. We're talking religion, you're talking science, and the power structures that was built on lies. Because you got to remember, and you can ask yourself this too: if the aliens was to show up today, the first thing people are going to ask, who is your God? They're not going to, outside of where you came from, who is your God? That would probably be the number one answer or question that anybody would ask any being from where they come from. And when that answer doesn't align up to what we're told, and if the alien themselves says something to the fact of, yeah, we come from these great distant stars, and then we look at the technology that they have and the technology that we have. Probably automatically, we're going to believe that they're a more superior intellect, right? And so at that point, you're going to believe what they said. And if they are more superior intellect and they have malevolent intent, they're going to lie anyway. We are your God. That'll be the second thing came out their mouth. We made you, because they know you don't know. And so at that point, then you bow down and start saying, all right, give me this or whatever. But it also makes us think about it, though. If Blue Book was designed to investigate, why were its findings pre-written? You remember, people start saying that they already knew what they was going to tell us. They already knew what they were going to say when they start breaking these things down. And so therefore it was the narrative. It was the narrative that they wanted put it out there. They wanted to make sure that it was going to go down that way. And they put things in perspective so that it will head down those routes and everything else. Make sure you all right now hit the like button on the video so it'll start sending it out to more people so we can get more people in here, and we can definitely do that as well. All right. So yeah, they want to keep it a secret. You're correct on that. And I think that's something that, and as Netta says, always question everything. And we should question everything. The other part, like I said, we got 20. So number two is what I call the holy grail of ufology. They try to destroy the holy grail. And I'll get into giving you a timeline of things that happen where I will consider why the Holy Grail, because this is where it all began, because the disinformation campaign started then. And I think that also leads us to current events today when we want to talk about disclosure. And like I said, that is not a push for disclosure. Nobody said this. No one said that we're further along and people are coming forward more whistleblowers. But the other side of that wall is not, bending over and saying, okay, come on in and we're going to let y'all know the secrets of everything. Because if you think about Project Blue Book, you're talking Project Sign, which was the predecessor investigation, concluded that many flying saucers was real, were real craft and likely not from this earth. They had already knew that. Then the report known as the estimate of the situation, start Googling that. You're going to find some information when they talk about that was supposedly forwarded to the Pentagon and then ordered destroyed. It's like for your eyes only, destroy this thing. And it was an estimate of the situation, which stamped top secret when they got it and contained analysis from scientists. I think they had pilots, they had credible observers. This was at that moment the holy grail of ufology, and literally they tried to erase this from history. And when they got that definitive report, and then they send it, and we'll probably talk about this later, to the condom, right, report, where if you find it on, I think on page 200 and whatever, or 400 in this page, it distinctly said it's not a good idea to tell the public about this. And from that report, they solidified the secret or the reasoning behind the secret of everything else. And so what's going on, Aqua Girl? Thank you. And so right there off the bat, we already had the issues upon issues, right? Off the bat became a problem. And when you think about it, but let's get into the questions of the Holy Grail. Why destroy the estimate of the situation instead of debating it? And maybe, because they either feared the document credibility, or it was written by military insiders and confirmed extraterrestrial origins when they did that, and that they couldn't be allowed to exist. Because if that report said something to the effect of they have machinery or equipment can fly from here to there within milliseconds, and we can't do anything about it. We can't defend ourselves. We can't, we don't even know about the propulsion systems that they're using. And all of these things lead to a point to where we're getting to a point where this is out of our hands. Then I possibly would probably understand, the situation a little better. It's no different than any of you having children and there's something outside the house that possibly could break in. You're not going to tell the kids that can happen. You're going to just keep saying, hey, don't worry about it. Mom and dad is going to protect you. And because we don't want them to fear the situation. So give a shout out to Diane for the Cash App support. Thank you so much. It is the end of the month. And so being the end of the month, yeah, all contributions are very, very duly noted when it comes to that. Another part of this, why do top secret documents, we're still talking about the Holy Grail, have always vanished when they confirm alien reality? Now, there's people that say, again, I had a great conversation. I'll talk about that later, where this is all part of our minds, it's all part of that. But as we still go back with, the ufologist stuff, and the question would be, why would it always vanish when they confirm alien reality? Now, my answer to that is because the ultimate truth, the stabilizer, right, is what they're in. When they confirm by insiders, they become undeniable. So they burn it. They're not worrying about the outside things. It's just someone else goes to and say, Mr. President, not even Mr. President. He don't even hear about this stuff. Remember, the military industrial complex run this whole scenario. Point blank and simple. That's just who does it. And so when the truth is dangerous, then it doesn't disappear. It's taken out completely. They just don't even want it out there because erasing evidence is easier than silencing a million waking minds. You got to remember, if a lot of people are awakened to what is happening and people are walking around saying, I want the truth or whatever, that's a bigger problem than eliminating 5, 6, 7 people that knows about it or threatening them or their way of life or incentivizing them to keep their mouth closed. That is way more easier than turn around trying to shut up 1 million, then 2 million, then 5 million, and then 1 billion people who now questioning the truth. And so that's just a playbook that they're going to do. And I think it's just pretty much point blank and simple when they do this. The other part of this is it wasn't censorship. It was just, we can still keep using the word ritual because I think everything is a ritual. Everything that we see them talk about is a ritual. And when you start trying to compare it to today's life and where we're at today, then it starts to make sense that rituals is a playbook. And I think when we start thinking of the term ritual, some of us can look at it more on a satanic way versus a systematic way of things happen. Some of you have rituals that you do every day when you wake up in the morning. Maybe you do the same thing, and it's just a ritual that you go through, my coffee, meditation, walk or whatever. And this is something that you have, created or placed in place that gives you peace. And so it could be called a ritual. But, and so we don't really want to always think it's just more or less the satanic stuff, but I think it's more in such a way we can do it. And we can look at it from there. Number 3 out of 20 is the Roswell. Not one crash, but 2, and no records when this happened. So the official Roswell narrative from Project Blue Book at the time was another just flat out story or lie, if you want to call it, because retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Richard French, remember, he was a Blue Book insider at the time. He testified. Now, this guy testified that there wasn't just one UFO crash, but there was 2 near Roswell in 1947. And actually, there was 2. I was just in a TV series a few years ago that's on Fox Tubi right now. It's Roswell 75. So it's got to be 2 years because we're now 76 or 77 years since. I was in a TV series on Fox Tubi, and it's called the Roswell Anniversary. You can go look it up on Fox Tubi or wherever they did it. But one of the things was that when the producers began to talk to a lot of the experts, they made the discovery as well that there was 2 crashes. They had already had their outline, the way the TV show was going to go to present the narrative as one. And then they discovered from some of us that, it was 2. It was 2 crashes. And so that changed their whole narrative. But like I said, you can go check that out. And I'm in that show. I don't know if it's still on Fox Tubi. I'm sure it is. Or if you Google it, it could probably be in any other places. But anyway, the National Archives can't locate any documentation about the pivotal incident in their Project Blue Book records. It's like it just disappeared everything. And so, what are they hiding? We already know. Why do they claim there's no records indicating or even hinting at alien bodies or materials when the truth is staring them right in the face? And so there was a lot of things that goes down from there to keep things going. And I know sometimes we may be asking ourselves, well, what does it matter? And I've always been a proponent of that too. Like, why do we care if there's something else out there in the universe? But yet, if they're going to lie about it, I think that that makes the inquiry even more. And just like them and me and anyone else, you're going to have a lot of questions too. Where you come from? How does this work? How do we heal this? What technology? What do you think about this? What is life? What is soul? What is spirit? What is all? There's so many questions. Even though they can't even answer it either. They just don't look like us. They cannot answer it. But however, like I said, with them being in a different technological era, we're going to look and assume that they have been or is someone that's probably got more technological advancement than we do. And so I think there's something for us to really think about it. But the part of this is, why were there no records of the biggest UFO case in history? Because this is where it all started. And you remember, supposedly we shot it down, and there was a rumor, a very detailed rumor that you will hear slightly, that they were not gray aliens. They were Chinese black-looking aliens, or whatever you want to call them. And so probably right then and there, they probably know, we ain't putting this out there if that to be true. We're not going to put that out there, because at that time in the 40s, you're talking racism and a lot of stuff was at an all-time high. So you're not going to sit here and say, oh, by the way, this spacecraft came down and had some people that was dark-skinned and Chinese looking at the same time. And of course, Samuel Chung was here. If you remember, go back and look at the interview as him being a Chinese interpreter and all of his research, and within the book of the Yoba prophecy, and with the book of the alien interview, there was a lot of hints that hinted that there could have been a race of beings that was, dark skinned, that was here. In fact, I was watching a video on Instagram, and it was a little girl, and her mom was talking, and she was, Caucasian, and the mom, she was saying how she'd been here before, and the past lives of where she was, and she, had rainbow hair, and then she said, well, what did you look like? She said, I was black. I had black skin. Or now, of course, the color black versus brown skin, it probably will be a different interpretation. But the whole point was that was something that she was talking about. Now, I will say once again, why there was no records, because they wiped out to clean the trail leading to alien bodies, tech, and our witness. The other part would be, why did high-level officials confirm events that they archive and pretend never happened? Because you got to remember, when this happened, when Project Blue Book, or and reason why I'm having this dialogue with you is you're gonna get the pattern, right? You're gonna see the pattern of, something happens and then they rechange history. And this is probably what they've been doing anyway. And this is where we get I think, is it the Mandela effect, right? Or something. And if I'm correct, y'all put it in the chat. If I'm not, kind of correct me, help me out a little bit. But the Mandela effect, right? Where they, something happened, but now all of a sudden they change it or whatever. So in this fact, it's like they're always trying to do that. So somebody let me know if I'm on point with that, pretty much, of the Mandela effect. Maybe that is something in the case of, what we're looking at and what we're doing. So either way, it still takes us down, not just the rabbit hole of things, but it also takes us down to understand what we're doing and what we're not doing. And it just makes more sense to look at things in that form and fashion and how it goes. And so I think it's just something that, we just have to understand it. I think it's something that we could look at it from whatever retrospect that it is. And hang on a second, let me see. All right, so once again, we can keep going. We can get more likes and stuff here. Oh, Mandela effect. All right, so we're good there. The other part is because life, the other part, I think, why did the officials do it? Because I think the lie became policy, right? and anyone who broke the ranks became a threat to the national mythology. And remember, I said this before. Remember, I talked to you all about when we start talking about the government disclosure and the movement with Senator whatever his name is, Burchett, who's leading the charge, and all these other people, like, are they going to tell the truth, and or we, the government, the people must know. And when you start thinking about the team that he's on, the rank and file that he's in has superior over him. And the same very people he think he's trying to expose for us are the same people that are controlling the system. And although they're going to let him wag and dog the pony and lead us into this part because it all looks like it's part of the plan, they can easily just tell him in the back of the room, and you hear that all the time. You hear it in all of the discussions. You hear it in the congressional hearings. Anytime they ask a pertinent question, the person on the stand would say something to the effect of, I can't answer that here, but I can answer it in a skiff. Really? That's like the line of lines. And now they use it so frequently that it let you know that this became part of policy and how it's done. But it looks like they're doing something. It looks like they're getting funding to help get to the truth, or maybe, I don't know, sell books or whatever they're doing. But at the end of the day, everybody took that oath, and that oath tells them to protect the business entity of the United States, not the people. It's not got nothing to do with us. The corporation of the United States is the entity that they are all protecting by all means necessary and by all means necessary. Okay. And so we have to think about that in the more linear terms when we seeing these people sit at these congressional hearings, and when we're sitting here thinking they for the people. I ain't say the whistleblowers. The whistleblowers are the people trying to crack the code. They're trying to come forward. It's the gatekeepers who are then handling them, who are working with their colleagues, who are all on the same team, that we have to make sure that we do that. Now, you got to remember, when silence replaces documents, you're staring into the abyss of disclosure, right? This is why people don't really understand this. And I'm not saying people in my community, I'm saying the public itself. When this silence replaces documents, when they start saying documents were missing and all that, now you're staring into what disclosure really looked like. Because if they got the power to eliminate and get rid of documents and things like that, then they are automatically letting you know that this is what they're controlling and why they're controlling it. Now, when you start thinking about a two-crash cover-up, it implies more than just error. It screens global manipulation, because it's not just our country, it's other countries. And it makes so much sense how they control things, and they pretty much do that as well, doing all of those things when it comes to it. So again, the two crash cover implies more than it's an error, because one crash couldn't be an incident. Two means contact, intelligence, and intent. So you got to think about that, right? It's like, F me once, shame on you. F me twice, shame on me. So the first crash, they can say, but the second one is undeniable. It's contact. It's, like I said, intelligence. It's truth. It's evidence. It's all of above at this point. And now when you had hundreds of them, and then people coming forward, abductions and all these things, then it just changes the whole viewpoint of the whole scenario. And so I think it's one of those things that changes it all when you look at these things. All right, so the next thing is alien technology, number 4, stolen, and then humanity denied. This is probably the most emotional side of things. Now, I get why people push forward this particular part of the narrative, because if they have had the ability to find alien technology, and it could change humanity, cure diseases, and hit it because they're protecting the ecosystem. Because you got to think about it, the graves from Roswell communicated a shocking truth. The graves from Roswell told them a shocking truth, that their technology could have solved all human problems, hunger, thirst, and more. You remember, if you start looking at all the documents, the graves that was still alive told them that our technology that we have can solve all of your problems. So imagine who made the decision and said, no, because if you fix hunger, that's probably trillions of dollars coming out the ecosystem. If you fix thirst, there's no more water bill. If you fix health, there's no more healthcare system and no more pharmaceutical companies, no more anything. So if you fix these things, this is where we are. Roderick said, but Roderick, you can see it. Just look where we were 100 years ago. Which part? As far as advancement 100 years ago or where? All right, 100 years ago, we didn't have airplanes, right? Flying in the sky, the Wright brothers or whenever they came out. But, is that technological advancement when people were living longer and now living less? You get what I'm saying? It makes sense. But when you're thinking about human life, not, technologically wise, we're now being taken out by a lot of things today that are ailing and limiting the expansion or the extension of life. So that will probably be the main prize, right? So if you think about it, before the century was called the 20th century ended, but as the aliens put it, those in power would not wish it, rather they would have what they see as greater power. And I think people should get furious about such a thing like that. They should get mainly tremendously crazy when it comes down to a scenario like that, because it just makes sense that you should. However, those in power, again, they just didn't want that. So they chose to hoard the alien secrets for themselves, denying humanity as a golden age or a greater control. And then these incidents was part of the path to doom for the human race. That was right there, right? When we look at this and pretty much. And so make sure, again, if you have not had an opportunity to like and share and hit the button, and we could, continue with our conversations and have a great show as we continue down this rabbit hole tonight and pretty much. So anyway, I will continue to go down there and see how we can do that and see where we're going with this. All right. So on the other side of the fence, we're talking about eyewitnesses' account of Roswell aliens and they were here. So you remember the former Royal Air Force Airman Thomas? He claimed that he met two extraterrestrials who survived 1947 incident. They was kept by the U.S. military at a secret base, part of a top secret code called Code Orange. And these beings known as the Greys were 2 to 3 foot tall, light gray in color, and very thin, long arms with either 2 or 3 fingers, and their heads was much wider than their jaw. And then their eyes were slanted, and you couldn't see pupils in them. They look exactly they look exactly the way aliens have been depicted in motion pictures. But what race has slanted eyes? That would be Chinese people, right? At this point, there would be people who have slanted eyes. And so you can look at that particular thing as well. But if you start thinking about why did the Air Force witness risk everything to tell the truth decades later? And I think when we start having a lot of these people that begin to whistleblow, I think at this point, a lot of them do it if they start looking at life and they started getting the other side of, am I going to go to hell or whatever, because I've deceived millions of people. And maybe they look at it as a way to saying, I need to maybe rekindle, my life or get more points so I can pass the scale of Anubis or whatever. I'm just saying, you start thinking about it, because usually, just like a lot of them, when they get pretty old and they're and on their deathbeds, they're always are sitting here trying to say, oh, this is why they're doing it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, guilty conscious. What's going on? William says, howdy, y'all. What's going on? And so all of these things, look at it. Did the Greys want something in return? I think they probably did, like help us get back home. You know what I'm saying? Roberta. They probably wanted to get back home, and who wouldn't? I'll give you this. You help me get back home. I don't want to be here. So I would think that would be one of the things. So the other part was, why do all alien depictions match real encounters from Roswell today? So even though we know that there's supposed to be hundreds and 80s and bunch of species out there, the question is, why do they all right now resemble the Roswell stuff and today? And I think because we are just imagining them, they've been showing themselves to us for decades in more of a consistent form. And like I say, I've been doing a lot of studying that it could be us. It could be ourselves, or we are creating the multiple dimensions of images of ourselves. So it could be a lot of things that we are doing. He says, thanks, Grandpa, for putting me in danger for spilling the secrets, LOL. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those deals to and again, it's those things of how or why they're doing this, right? And yeah, you're right. On the deathbed, and you'd be like, yeah, I want to go ahead and tell you that, I'm not your, whatever. Who knows who would leave people with those things? But again, the consistency across witnesses isn't coincidence. It could be cosmic programming, right? We talked about that on plenty shows, and we go there because disclosure isn't just coming. It's been rehearsed in our collective unconsciousness for quite some time. They have been putting disclosure in the minds of us and playing with it for a very long time. And so that playbook has been written, rewritten, replayed, keep continuous play on it, and never stop, because the face of the grays has been seeded into our subconscious for generations. And maybe because they want us to recognize them to be, or whatever, because if they're going to release any pictures of any particular races, it's always the grays. And that lets you know all that stuff can be planned. It could be just as fake as all get out, because they have figured out a way to, mess with us in such a way that it is one of those things that we can do. And I think that's something for us to truly look at the scenario and try to understand what is really happening in this case, right? And something to say, okay, let's look at this. What is going on? Why are the grays always looking the same? Where everything else? Yes, Project Blue Balls. I think we can agree on it. So number 6 out of 20 is the horrifying truth that the Roswell aliens, maybe I shouldn't say this, they said they fed on blood. Now, where did that narrative come from or been out there? So we're going to discuss that. And here's the part they really don't want you to know about when it came down. They said these grays from Roswell had a chilling diet that they communicated. They had a diet, and they said, we feed on blood. They left that out. A lot of people don't talk about that today, but that was there. Go do your research. You will find it. And they said, we feed on blood and water, is what they said. Maybe this is where the mythology of vampirism came from. And of course, I take that all the way back to reptilian stuff, right? Reptilian agenda and everything else. But they confirmed that their race does not digest solids, and that the humans provide us with your abstinence and substance or whatever from blood. And they said, this is not just about little green men. This is about ancient, powerful things who influence cultures like the Inca, remember, the Aztec, we're talking about the Mayans. They all demanded some type of substance or sustained from our planet. So that goes back to someone asked, what did the Greys want in return? If they came here and said, we feed our blood and water, remember, this is a backwater planet. Earth is 73% water. Human beings are 73% water. And so therefore, if that was the recipe for food, we fit it easily. And that can explain the abduction process. Now, that goes against the cattle things that have been happening, because when they find those and when they start finding these cattle that has been, tampered with, there was no blood hanging around when they would find them. So that could change that a little bit as well. However, why would a race hyper advanced need blood from humans? That would be one of the questions. Now, people would say, okay, maybe it's RNA, maybe it's DNA, that they was after, because the biological dependency doesn't end with intelligence. I think it evolves with it. I think that's what is going on. And if he said we fed off of it, that is probably, I don't know, but I thought that was a horrifying discovery that they made. And it's kind of, again, goes into one of those things when you start thinking about that was their diet, right? And so you would ask that question. The other part would be, why would they need blood from humans? Because again, that's worth answering. Now, the other part, well, why would ancient gods and modern aliens obsess with the same crimson sacrifices? Remember, everybody wanted the sacrifice. Every time they came, there was always something new. There was always this sacrifice thing. Y'all remember, right? So we're talking about Project Blue Book, the deception of Project Blue Book. If you just join us, make sure you hit the like button as well, and to get that algorithm going. However, because the answer to that, I think, is because they are the same entities in a different mask, ancient vampiric intelligence. And this is why we have those stories. When you start looking in the vampirism and all the stories, how they come back from all the way back now to one of the lineages too, of the 13 family bloodlines and everything else. I think these are things that we can look at. Dr. Strange says blood is like oil. Okay, I get you. Anna Ada says that's how they would call the gods. Interesting. For reptilians they serve. Yeah. Y'all on point tonight. I think y'all are getting it now. We're harmonizing with the questions and thoughts and maybe the possibility, because that's what this whole journey is about. Some people sit here and they don't want to ask the why questions. Either why takes you on the journey, it takes you on the path. Whenever you start asking why, that is probably one of the most significant things out here is the why questions. Okay. And so I'm all for that. You are for that. We should be for that. We are with that and done that. And here we are. Right. So the why questions are really one of the things that you want to do. The other part is this isn't sci-fi. The way we think it's sci-fi, that's not it. And it's the return of ancient vampire entities posing as aliens. Maybe that is the truth. Maybe, like we said, it maybe it's not aliens. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's humans coming back. Maybe it's something else. But whatever it is, it's coming from the ancient side of things, because they put it on walls. They talked about it. They chiseled it into pyramids. They left tablets. They left all kinds of things to let us know that this thing is huge. Whatever the scenario is, they tried to tell us, and I think it goes to a point to where it is. The other part is what we call abduction, and I hate to say it, could be feeding time. Is that possible? And maybe somebody made a deal with them and said, "Hey, go do the cattle instead. Don't take humans." The anatomy is similar. You can take their eyes and tongues and anuses and all that stuff. Remember, when they find these cows, they are zero blood. It's out. It's all gone. If you start looking up the cattle stuff that they have out there, I'm trying not to say the second word, the MUT, whatever, but if you start looking at the stuff with cattle, they're gone. They're not even, the blood and all that stuff is empty. And it's like they take it all. So maybe that's something to look at, because to them, once again, we're livestock like cattle, except we got belief systems and so they probably like, we need to take that. Judith says let me put it on the screen. And also, if you have something you want to stick out, use the super chat tonight and pretty much. And like I said, this is our contribution night, whatever. So we would love if you bring any value into the show tonight, that you could, offer any type of contributions to our show. This is what we do. This is our community show. And let me see if I could put that right there. Those are the two ways that we accept, through Cash App and as well as PayPal. So I'll let that scroll across the screen, and maybe someone find it in your heart of hearts or whatever. And pretty much. And today I did a life change today. So we'll discuss that in the midway between the show, or maybe toward the end, and even got a little video to kind of show you all some stuff that was going on. But we're just on number 6, and we got 20. So number 7, about Project Blue Book, why it was a lie, I know for a fact, or we would assume, fictitious reports. Man, Project Blue Book had a lot of them. Blue Book had insiders confess to the lies all day long. They was coming out when remember Air Force Lieutenant Colonial French. He was an investigator. He personally said he witnessed the two circular UFOs, the tiny aliens, and all that, and they was working on them underwater. Remember, off of Newfoundland, he was talking about that. That was his official report. He confessed to it that it was fictitious. He came back and said it was a lie. It was one big lie. And he said his duty was to debunk the story when it came down. So his thing was,
Now that's a damn lie.
you know, and that was how he was. He was saying that his duty was to debunk the story and admit, oh, I think without a doubt it was a UFO, and I think there was aliens aboard. This explicit proof fabricated reports to cover up genuine sightings. And so it's like they did. So why would a confession after decades of silence unless the guilt was unbearable? And like I said, when you get people that are on their last moments here and they're fearing where they're going to go from all the lies and deceptions, you know how many people that probably have given some type of confession on their deathbeds? I mean, some of you probably have family members that you met or not met, but have went to the house or something, and right before they're about to pass on, they tell some startling secret or something that they used to do or be around, because obviously they just didn't want to take it with them, or you know, in some cases maybe they didn't care or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like they kind of knew when it comes down to it. So how many of us have had that? And I think because the truth becomes a burden too heavy for the soldiers trained in secrecy. Now, but I can take that a more spiritual. They fear what's going to happen on the other side. They truly fear that their souls and things that was going to happen on the other side is a problem, and they don't want people to know about it, see about it, or any of those things. I think that's one of the things that they were talking about when it comes to that. And who knows? I think again, it just falls down into the world of what they're doing about hiding, covering up, all of this stuff. Yeah, Neil Armstrong, you're right. All of these people are pretty much looking at it. Now, let's go to another part of this. What about the you know, why would they fabricate when nothing was to cover up? And I think because the real events were too earth-shattering to the public record. So I think they had to come back and create some fake events to offset the real events that they was having, because I think they felt that it was just a little too much for people to go down that route. And so there you go. Why not cover it up? Why not lie? And they did just that, because when those insiders admit to the lies become prophecy for some odd reason. And because confession would dismantle everything when you start talking about it. So these are things that I think were part of that. And as we continue down on our plight of was Project Blue Book a big lie? And if any one of these points resonate with you, put it in the chat and pretty much from there. And once again, thank Diane being the first person that have contributed to the show tonight. So we want to thank her for that. And like I said, if you know, if there's others that want to see the value in what we're doing, I think it's just right off the bat, you know, we need to look at it. Let me keep going. Number 8 was the impossible maneuvers. Remember, UFOs defied our own physics. That was probably one of the biggest things. If you remember, Lou Elizondo said there was 5 or 4 variables. There was, I think he said it was transmedium, and I think he said it was those 5 variables. But one was transmedium technology, where they can go and come and you know, cloaking. I forget what it was, but anyway, he put it out there. He put it out there, and he talked about those things, and it was kind of he's like, when those 5 things popped up, in fact, I might can Google it, but when those things popped up, it was just the way it was. Let me see if I find it over here. But one of the things that he talked about, which is one of the, let me just Google and see how it comes up. The 5 UFO variables. I don't remember how I think that's what it was right here. And here we go. So there was 5 variables. Let me put them on the screen. And then this was very important because this is what Lou Elizondo was talking about. And so let me put them on the screen. We can read them together. One in particular is anti-gravity. And he said, and this was why was a problem, because the objects observed overcame Earth gravity with no visible means of propulsion and a flight surface such as wings that they appear and float. The other part was sudden and instantaneous acceleration. UAPs, I'm sorry, excuse my grammar, demonstrated the ability to accelerate and change direction extremely quickly, far exceeding the G-forces in survival by human pilots. And for example, radar operators on the Nimitz incident tracked the UAP accelerating from a standstill to thousands of miles per within a minute. The other one was hypersonic velocity without signatures. These objects could travel in hypersonic speed faster than the speed of sound, often Mach 5, and without leaving the boom. Low observability. This was the other part. Observability was a problem because the radars couldn't pick them up. And then, of course, transmedium probably was the main factor. Transmedium technology was they can go from space, air to water, or water, air, and space. We have nothing that could do that. We have nothing can do those 5 things at some point today, right? Supposedly. And those right there let them know that they weren't made from this world. And it wasn't any of our enemies, because if any of our enemies had technology, and I'm saying it, if any of our enemies had technology that was anti-gravity, could suddenly instantaneously accelerate, remember, and go, and hypersonic without signatures, meaning we can't track them, and observability, the pilots' radars couldn't see them, and it was transmedium, we probably speaking a whole nother language right now. We will speak a whole different language if some of our adversaries had that capabilities. And whoever gets to it first, whoever getting these reverse engineering craft, whoever's working toward this technology first will rule the world. Make no mistake about it. Whoever gets there first is going to rule the world. The other part was, why does these physics break down in the presence of these crafts? And we don't know, because we're not dealing with earth-bound science, and so that's probably the first reason. And we're witnessing interdimensional reality at this point. And this is probably why our science is having a problem, the scientific community, with this UFO or UAP phenomenon, because it's more hypothesis, or should I say theory-based, because, well, I think multiple hypotheses, then they can create a theory, if I'm not mistaken correctly, and let me know if I'm right. So when they have these anomalies that are happening all over and they cannot adapt a theory because the hypotheses are all across the board, then it's very difficult for them to put in the belief system of all of that. So I think that's one of the things that we run into. The other things are why we can also say, why is it impossible maneuvers met with bureaucratic shrugs? And that's got a good answer, because they rather play dumb than admit that our laws of nature don't apply anymore. If something is out there defying the laws of nature, Project Blue Book didn't want people to know that. They didn't want people to know that there's something divine that's defying what we have been known, or we think that Einstein and all of the Nikola Tesla, all of the greatest scientists and people of the world who we thought knew everything, now all of a sudden there's stuff happening that's defying logic. And when that happens, they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. That's not what's going on from there. So what do y'all think, though? What do y'all think when it comes down to Project Blue Book? What are your thoughts? Put it in the chat. From what we talked about now, we're on number 9 next, and we got 20. Well, what are your thoughts about Project Blue Book when it comes to how and what they, in the way things were and the way they was handling things, and pretty much go from there. So, and with that being said, we have almost 80 people in here. So, it's a little low light tonight. We're probably down about 60 people. And so where they at, I don't know. Maybe they'll come, but hit the like button, and then maybe they'll get triggers that we're here live, and they'll show up and all of those things. And so we have, more people than likes. So if you have not liked the video, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a simple ask. And if you can hit the like button, I'll be most appreciative that if you can go ahead and smash that like button, and we can do that. Dr. Strange said it's a smoke screen. I'm with you 100% when it comes to that. The other part would be when science is weaponized, then truth becomes classified. That is it. We stand around and say we want the truth. That is what we want. That's just how we want to do it. But when science is weaponized, it's done. Truth is it becomes classified. They're not talking about it. They don't care. They don't want us to know. They go a whole different direction when these things happen from there. And you can look at it. All right. So yeah, we have 77 people watching. And then, like I said, hit the like button. Yeah, let's hit that like button, and we can do that. Let's talk about the unidentified files, the smoking guns. Despite their efforts to debunk and, take the files or whatever it's going, Project Blue Book still listed 701 sightings as unidentified. And this was, if you start looking up the data out there, we're talking out of 12,608 reports that they had. And these cases are there. They openly admit they tried to explain them, but they failed. Now, you're talking about a cover-up or a big lie. They couldn't explain away every encounter, right? It just didn't make sense, proving that genuine unknowns exist in our skies. It's cool. Barack Obama said that. Remember, I played at the beginning of our clip, and I'll play it right now, just the first 3 seconds of that.
Objects in the sky, we don't know exactly what they are.
And I think he was telling the truth when Barack Obama said that. I think he was telling the truth without trying to say what they did know, but he was telling the truth. There's things in our skies that we don't know what it is. And they don't know. As long as they could not list them as a threat, then American people were not going to panic. But if those things get into a point where the military says, yeah, they was there, we chased them and we couldn't catch them. Yeah, we shot at them and they shot back and destroyed our whatever fighter. Then right there was an issue right off the bat. And all that was going to continue to be an issue. And so when you start looking at those variables, it makes sense that they would do it, because at the end of the day, they couldn't explain away every encounter, and they knew. So the Air Force is even, man, they didn't want to stick to their own rules. So we would ask the question, why would they admit, number one, the 700 unknowns if the goal was debunking them? So it's like they was playing two sides, Why would you admit that there was, out of those 12,000 reports, there were 700 of them we didn't know what it is? And I think because some of the evidence defied even the best spin doctors too much to clear, they just were like, okay, man, we this is just too legit to quit, as MC Hammer would say, right? They was like, this is just too legit. We got to go with this, plain and simple. Why could the best minds of the Air Force explain these encounters? I don't think they wanted to. James says Lockheed Martin, yeah, because I think they were dealing with early phenomena or earthly phenomena, and then or they wasn't dealing with things from Earth. They were facing a higher intelligence, and it's written all over stuff. It's written all over stuff, and they had and the other part was the unexplained is the keyhole to the hidden world, and so as long as they can keep us hidden and the secret done, they can play with this thing all day long. And so I don't think 701 files was a failure. I think it was just stuff that they wanted to keep from, the forbidden contact, or something out there was trying to make contact. They didn't want us to do it. So I'm going to go over a few different sites. Now I'm going to get into a few things that happen in different reports and incidents, and a whole bunch of them. For the next 10, we'll go into some of those, and starting with, let me know if you find any value in tonight's show. Let me know if we can continue. We might have to go another hour to go through all these 20, and I'm willing to do it if you got time to listen. Let me know. Also, by the way, I don't know if you guys see, but I am wearing copper bracelets that was made for me. This one is real nice. It's real thick copper, and it says luminous. They made it. It says luminous right there on the squares, and then this one here says "Mind be still," and "I am victorious," and "Who am I?" And we'll talk about that in a minute there. Okay, so you got time. All right. Continue. Fourth concept, continue. James says, I'm listening. All right, then. Shoot. Good evening, truth seekers. We made it. Don just made it with us finally. All right. Let me get my water out. So we're going to continue. All right, then. I'm going to get some water right here, and we're going to continue. All right. So let's go over some of these sightings a little bit. Some of them you may have heard of, and you may not. Number 11 out of 20 that we're going is the O'Hara International Airport. This was probably one of the modern day cover-up. This isn't just old history. This happened in 2006, okay? And at Chicago O'Hara's International Airport, multiple employees, including a pilot, reported seeing a saucer-like object for 5 minutes. The FAA, without any follow-up investigation, dismissed it as a obscure weather phenomenon. Do y'all remember that? If you go back and look it up, and you can look at the photos. In fact, I should have pulled them up. I had some of these photos to show you, or tell him. And I'm like, a weather phenomenon? Now, this is exactly how they control the public narrative, deny even right there. Because think about it. The FAA is skies you cannot just fly over with permission. You can't just fly over without permission. You just can't do that. So why would the FAA refuse to investigate a mass sighting at a major airport? Well, I'm glad you asked, because acknowledging it will confirm that UFOs can breach our most secure regulated airspace, that we are powerless to stop them. So think about it. If the FAA says, and if you really want to hear some stuff, because it's public record, go look up a lot of FAA pilots' communications. You will hear a lot of them talking to each other. You see that flight number 2336? Yeah, I saw that flight 1618. Yeah, flight 2336. What did it look like to you? Flight 1618? I don't know. I think it was a UFO. Oh, okay. They talk. They talk all the time. They really talk all the time. And so it's kind of one of those things that you go. But all right. So why is a collected testimony from professionals dismissed without analysis? And that was another part. They didn't even want to check into this deal at the O'Hara airport when all these people reported it, crew members, pilots, aircraft, they all saw this thing. And we're talking 5 minutes. It was sitting there 5 whole minutes. And it wasn't a glitch. It was a breach of the matrix, if you start thinking about it, because it tore through a controlled narrative in broad daylight and at one of our major transportation hubs. You think they didn't know that? That aircraft didn't, that spaceship saying we're gonna park right here at one of the world's most busiest airports where they got flights and stuff going? Yeah. Yeah, it was like you had to think about it, all right? And pretty much. And so when airports become portals, you're not dealing with the weather. A lot of times this is something totally different. And because this happened, they don't want everybody to kind of know. Another one was number 12 that we in out of 20 was the Lubbock lights. That was huge. They knew the truth. They kept it a secret. You know, multiple credible witnesses of Lubbock saw flying at over 600 miles per hour. That's pretty fast, you know. And Project Blue Book's Captain Rupert, I think that was his name, later rejected his own plover bird explanation, but then refused to reveal the actual answer. He said, I can't divulge it. The way that the answer was found. And I promise you that he had to keep complete anonymity when it came to that. And this is not nothing scientific. When 600 miles an hour, that's pretty quick. And they had deliberate concealment. And what was so terrifying that he had to keep it a secret. He knew he had to keep it a secret. James said they appear bright lightning transforms to secret objects. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So we would ask ourselves, why did Rupert promise secrecy if it was just about birds? If it was just birds, why would he do that? Well, I mean, I think because what he saw contradict the story that he was ordered to tell, and he feared the consequences of telling the truth. See, these whistleblowers are not just when they're trying to talk about this stuff. If you think about anything with Project Blue Book, it told you what they was doing to whistleblowers. It let you know what they was going to do to whistleblowers. And they already knew this. And for him, what he saw shook every foundation of everything he believed. Because again, once you know the truth, returning to the lie is not easy. You got to remember that. This is why it's so hard now for certain people. Once you know the truth, going back to the lie, it ain't easy. It's just not easy when you're doing that. It just really not. So, you know, think about that for a second. Now, remember the Tremonton, is it called Tremonton movie? The seagulls? There are not, there was like two pie pans. Y'all remember that? The famous Tremonton movie? And it was in Utah. It was showing mysterious objects, was dismissed by the CIA, sponsored by Robertson Panel. You got to remember that movie. They were saying there were seagulls riding on thermals. Seagulls riding on thermals. Is what they said. But the Navy warrant officer who filmed it, Deborah Newhouse, said he saw two pie pans, one inverted on top of the other. He knew what he saw. The Air Force endorsed Byrd's explanation as a public relation ploy to downplay the significant evidence. They lied right there in our faces. Made a movie about it and then turned around talking about over seagulls. Seagulls moving that fast, in formation, sitting where they were. And that was probably like them saying, we're going to tell them anything. We're going to tell them anything that they can believe, and they're going to believe it. You can imagine that one. They was like, just tell them anything. It don't even matter. They ain't going to believe it. I mean, they're going to believe whatever we tell them. And so why would the Air Force, out of all people, accept a bird story when they knew it was false? And I think because any explanation, no matter how ridiculous it was better than admitting the truth. I think they can just come up with anything, you know, declassified 15 or whatever. And then they will mock some of these people. Now, the other thing, you remember there was landings of humanoids and physical evidence. These files that happened with Project Blue Book contain accounts in, was it Socorro, Mexico, where a policeman, remember that policeman saw an object land and observed two small humanoids near it and found burning and charred in a bush, you know, and, you know, he found that at the site. And then after it took off, they came out like they was working on the craft, and then they got back in and went back up. And he said it was like small propellers on the edge, and the vegetation was disturbed. He said he saw it. He saw them get out, run around. Now that could have been some human jumping down, like, all right, we need to get back in. We can do it, and you never know. So I think, you know, it could be one of those deals that you can do. But these were physical trace cases with no scientific follow-up. Once again, they weren't checking that stuff out. They can care less. And then you can say, well, why did the humanoid sightings allow accompanying electromagnetic anomalies? It's like, I don't know. I think these beings were being manipulated reality. Maybe their vibrational level was barely understood at the time. The burn marks didn't leave no lie. You know, that was when I investigated a landing when we was with MUFON. We went to McKinney. There was indentions in the ground. That can't lie. Something was there. Another part was UFO shot down our technology. These objects wasn't just flying around. They was interacting with our world. And this was in Fakeville, Georgia. Go remember putting that up. Remember, it was a blimp-shaped object that passed over the witness's car. His radio stopped playing. It was in, I think it was Williamsburg, Virginia. They said it was like a mushroom object that affected this guy's electrical system. And then in Cherry Creek, New York, there was a UFO presence that drowned out somebody else's radio static and stopped the tractor engine. This is like electromagnetic, technology. Now, we already know we got those weapons now. We can shoot and shut down engines and all that. They do that in police cars now. They got a thing that'll slide under the car, and they push a button, it'll knock out your engine. So they don't care about that stuff. And you got to remember, the animals knew. Behavior confirms alien presence. Even animals can sense them. They was talking about, remember in Cherry Creek, there was a bull that was bellowing, and he tried to break his bonds when a large elliptical object was near the ground. This was in New Hampshire, and there was farm animals that was very noisy in the dark. We get that all the time. Maybe Bigfoot was around or all that, but it goes back to the conversation of where were they having these things? And we don't even want to talk about DARPA, all of that stuff. So I think it was kind of things that we could get into. The human-like occupants, we can talk about that in Chicago. Remember that happened in Illinois. A witness saw a white rounded top disc with humanoids suspended beneath, and the occupant was in a green suit that walked around. And remember in Temple, Oklahoma, there was a large object that sat on a highway. A man dressed in a military work clothes entered. Before it rose, then they was talking about, stuff walking among us. I mean, there was a lot of stuff out there. MJ12 and the Men in Black, the TV show reveals it all. They talked about Project Blue Book, that TV show. Well, I don't think that was that good. That wasn't that good at all. And you're talking censored files. That stuff had incomplete data. And then you're talking about the ground deception of it all. I mean, these are things that they discussed, and we, like I said, we don't try to pay attention to all that stuff, but they do. And it's kind of weird, when they do that, but hey, I think it's something that, we would have to look at, when it comes down to that. Now, real quickly, as y'all remember, I told you I was going in monk mode. I was going to do some stuff real serious. And so I'm getting ready to do a 30-day liquid diet, and when we had our, meet and greet, there was a person that came, Aset, and she did sound bowl healing. She will be at the next one, August the 23rd. So if you're in Dallas, make sure you come. I'll start putting up the locations and everything. And the website that I'm working on. She's the one who made these. In fact, today we went shopping to start on this, and I'm going to say it out loud. Maybe some of you could go 7 days with me. Somebody else can go some other 7 days. Someone else can go to 7 days. It's going to be challenging, but she, in fact, I have a little video that just I have a whole 40 hour of the clips that we're going to show, but I'll show you a few minute clips of if I can play it, and of us going out today, and then where we're going to go. But I would definitely want to support from you all, and yeah, I would definitely would love that support, from y'all to do. Let me see if I could play a file, and we could see. Let's see, present a video file. Let's see if that works. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna try to play it real quick and see if y'all can see it. Here we go. Those things we're gonna do. We're gonna go shopping. I have a set here, and we're gonna pick out certain foods and everything else. So you get to go on this journey. Yeah. So let us go on this journey so that we know what we're eating. And what is this again? Jackfruit. So we just look at something called jackfruit.
Yes, very nutritious, so good, so delicious.
So y'all got a set here, and so we're getting ready to get some good stuff, y'all. So let's go. Yeah, so y'all can. I had to look at and pick a non-bruised papaya. One of them's been hurt. He's really been hurt. He has bruises on him, so I have to pick that out. So this is
that you're gonna make for the high blood pressure and stuff.
Oh, I saw that at the store in the can, but this is more natural.
No, yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're doing all fresh.
We're doing all fresh.
There's guava.
We got guava. Okay.
So for snacks, have you ever had ikima?
Ikima?
Yeah, over here.
Ikima?
Yeah. So
no.
Yeah, so it's you can eat it like how you would eat a chip.
Okay.
Yeah, you just cut it and slice it.
This?
And you chew on it. Yeah, this jicama.
Okay.
So you're gonna be introduced to like some different kind of things.
Okay. We're gonna do that.
And you know pomegranate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like if you feel peckish or whatever, you can eat like the pomegranate. Like the jicama.
Out on it?
You you just eat it fresh. You can, because remember we're doing a different diet.
Okay.
So we're not gonna eat too much salt, right?
Okay.
So it tastes really good just like that. I eat it like that all the time. But of course, if you want to eat it with salsa, you can also do that. But you have to try to get used to things in its natural state.
Okay.
Eating it like that. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna eat a few things in our natural state.
So we're So usually when you're making this drink, you do like equal amounts of ingredients. Like if you get 2 pounds of this, you get 2 pounds of cucumbers, 2 pounds of chayote, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but me, I just pick stuff up and I don't really measure them a lot. I just I do a lot of things by intuition.
So is that 2 pounds or 1 pound? Let's see how close she's getting with her vision.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna weigh this just to see if the whole thing. Look, exactly 2 pounds.
Exactly 2 pounds?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right there on the money.
All right.
Wow, exactly 2 pounds. She hit that right there.
Diets, so we'll choose the different diets.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
so
right now
it
we're
will be balanced.
Yeah,
now with 30 days, where we're just cleansing the body and putting the nourishment, like all of these things are going to nourish the body.
okay.
And then now we are going to just choose the right kind of balanced food
Okay.
because we're looking at different recipes.
Okay.
So after the 30 days, then you can start eating
Okay.
some of the things that you like, but not the same way how you like them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we'll look at the recipes and
Now, if someone else was trying to do this, can you coach people this over the phone, or can you help them from like somebody in New York and we're here in Dallas?
oh yeah, this is what I've been doing for a long time. I've been doing this for many years. So I can. So this is from China. So I want to get some garlic.
All right. So anyway, that was just short. I did a whole hour or so in every store she gave an explanation of every vegetable, every cactus, all the stuff that we bought, and she's going to juice them for me, and put them in jars and everything else. And so I would just drink these things. Yeah, and she prepared me. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But what I'm interested in now is to really know how I'm going to feel. Remember, I told y'all I wanted to do monk mode and everything else. But if you remember, she also was there, the person that we met at the event that did the sound mode.
That was sound bells.
I always said they were two at a time. I mean, unless they have that's what I look for.
So remember, she was the one that was doing the sound. So she's going to do sound therapy, sound bowl therapy on August the 23rd. When everybody's there, she'll bring all the sound bowls. I actually did one that Saturday. I'll show that video, the next one by myself, where I was laying out on the grass and she was teaching me how to come out the body. And I remember I was laying in these ants, right, on the grass because I felt them walking on me. And then all of a sudden I just said, I'm not going to move. And I no longer felt them. And then when I came to, I saw them all sitting there, and luckily they wasn't biting me, but it was crawling all over. But those are things. Yeah. So we got cactus, we got all kinds of stuff, that big different stuff. I mean, it was just, but anyway, so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to be victorious. And so she said, okay, I'm going to give you your, so this particular, again, this is brass, I guess. And this one she made, she makes these. So she's going to bring some for us at the thing, we can support what she does. But anyway, this one says luminous, which is really cool. I like it. Again, this one says mind be still. And then there's two, and of course, a lot of things. But anyway, she's going to walk me through the process, be accountable. And I thought about just telling you all, I'm going to do a 30-day contract with myself tomorrow or Saturday when I start this. And I got to get through it, because my thing is, how am I going to feel when this is over? And then I'm going to restructure. Remember, I told y'all about a video I told about that I'm going to change the infinite conscious awareness of how people see me, as this bigger YouTuber. But really, because there's a journey and things that I want to do, and I want to get out and be a lot more healthier and do this. And I'm just going to go extreme. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to keep y'all posted each week. I may weigh in. I got a scale in there if that's what it's all about, but I'm going to need my audience and accountability from everybody, because this is going to be the biggest thing that I've tried in my entire life. But it's for life, right? It's gonna, and if I can achieve this, and I will achieve it, and just do it, right? And so, but she's gonna make it all prepared, and I think that's the main thing, is preparation. So she's gonna take the next few days, and then when she got in the car, she said, here's your new snack, and I think it was okra or something. It was, and she has her own garden, right? And so she picked them off the garden and put them in these little bags and said, here's just that. And I actually chewed them today, and I was like, they don't taste bad. And just to think about it, wasn't cookies, but it was right off of earth, right? And so I think that is something that we all could do, and pretty much. Let me see what some of y'all are seeing here. The God says also, Roddy, you can use tincture or black walnut. Yeah, she bought some wormwood. We bought that today because we're going to get rid of some of the parasites and stuff too. So there's going to be a lot of stuff there that we're going to do. I hear you assuming it would be hard. It could be fun. Okay, we're going to take assumptions out of it. You're right. We're going to go with it positive, and we're going to do it. And I'm going to do it right here in front of everybody. I got all of my little books in there that, my daily, not planner, but my daily journal. I'm going in. I'm going all in. And all I want at the end of this 30 days, I want to know what is it going to feel like, right? Am I going to have more energy, more clarity? Am I going to be here doing more live streams? Am I going to get out on the street and do the stuff I've been saying for 2 years? You know, is it going to be better on my knees? Is it going to help with the medication and stuff? And is it going to turn some of that stuff around? Am I going to live life better? You know, is it going to improve the first of the year when I hopefully get out and date? You know what I'm saying? Just whatever, right? Is it going to improve everything about my life? Or will it help other people who are going through these things, right? Maybe it'll help other people. Maybe it will help other people to do. And if some of you, like I said, if you want to go through just 1 week, if I can have 4 or 5 people as accountability partners in week 1, 4 or 5 people as accountability partners in week 2, 4 or 5 people as accountability partners in week 3, and maybe you just go 1 week, and maybe not, or maybe the challenge is there. But I will get where we are, and like I said, so I'm in what they call monk mode. So I have one meditation. I'm gonna the main meditation daily, and what she's also sharing with the sound is to really be still and quiet, and that is a very powerful thing to do. A particular projects that I'm working on, and then also the other stuff there. So, but I'm willing to do this in front of you all, right? And let you know. And then, of course, 6 months from now, it'll be a whole new me sitting here, you know, just doing what we're doing and enjoying this stuff, and be a testament of. And the other phase is that, you know, I'm learning, and I've done a lot of studying over the last year, and I've been talking to different people about getting into that form that we're going to do our symbolism, right? And because I think that's the main thing that people need to learn, but not just what they're doing, not seeing corporate logos and how they're drawing our conscious mind, but how you and me could tap into that ancient mythology, the ancient stuff from our ancestors, and use it for ourselves, and start learning. And or like the other day, somebody might have had a butterfly sitting there flickering, trying to send you a message, but you didn't get the symbolism of it, right? You just thought, oh, it was a butterfly, he lost. But maybe it was something trying to give you a message, trying to tell you you're in the right place, or don't go there, or do this. You know, would y'all like that type of information? I've been studying it, you know, I haven't. I just thought it was too primitive to talk about, right? It's not conspiracy enough. But I don't know. But something keep pulling me there, saying that I need to fulfill that. And then still tie into stuff that we see in what they're doing in the real world. But in the meantime, get us to a point to where we understand all of this stuff, and then still keep it, because it's bigger than aliens, right? It's bigger than just extraterrestrials in the sky. And so I've been trying to, try to figure that out. And like I said, that is even why, as most of you know, Denzel Washington is the equalizer. Y'all seen the 3 movies, right? And so I was really motivated to go to the next level, because I felt that if you got this platform and you're building and you're going to do these things, then you want to be able to talk with people and give them a direction of stuff. So I filed. You can go look in the United States trademark registry, and it's passed. I got it. It's my trademark, and it's called the Symbolizer. So you got Denzel Washington is the equalizer. Roderick is the symbolizer, the vigilante of truth. And so I want to, again, that was my whole goal, to do symbolism symposiums. But there's also, and maybe I'll ask y'all why we're here now. So this is, and I asked Judah today, this is why I was late. You know, I was talking to her about this right before. I called a couple of friends today, and I was like, look, I got this quantum that I'm at. And maybe right now, please, if it's 90 of you in here, even if 20 of you can help with some type of answer here, and it applies to both of us. All right, so when I started searching for the symbolism, there's conspiratory symbolism. That's, us talking about, the Grammys and what, Beyonce did and what she was wearing and the signs and all of this. That's symbolism there. There's symbolism of the Illuminati, the coast, the politicians are doing all these gang signs, and do we want to learn that? Then there's corporate logo symbolism or whatever. But then you have sigils, like, I built our own protection sigils. I think people need to learn how to do that. I think that we can talk about the triangles, the fasci, the different ones, and then do classes on how you can put those together for your own protections. Because the wealthy put their family crest together. They're all symbols. The shield is a symbolizer for protection, and all, and they start putting the different animals, the griffin and all. They're doing this right in before our eyes. So I thought about us teaching a new way of branding for businesses and saying, okay, don't just go out and build some kind of logo. Build your sacred alchemy geometry logo that is drawing off the consciousness of your customers and letting them know that you're right for them and all of this. They do it now. Pepsi, all these people, they've been doing it. They angle it every year. And then, of course, we get back to square or a bee or a simple bee or a frog or an owl, which is luminous, and all of those things. And so, yeah, water tied into everyday things, the whole symbolism of water, the symbolism, and start tying in everyday life things to the ancient symbolism. Even when you're driving down the street, you see the yield sign, that's a downward triangle. And if you know the downward triangle is the symbolism for the feminine side, which is supposed to be less aggressive, makes sense why they put it as a yield sign in traffic, because they need you to go into your feminine mode to allow somebody to get off the highway without crashing. Let them off. Be nice, be feminine, be docile, and let them off. And so they trigger that in our mind and all of those things. And so, so my question is, what type of symbolism would you all want to learn? I've studied, I got 26 books in there. I've been working on it to brand and for us to learn, to grow. And maybe we can talk about it all. I just didn't want to keep, presenting you satanic things that they're doing in our faces. And it's no different than us studying it, but we are opening our conscience to it, even looking at it, right? But yet we can probably protect ourselves from it with the knowledge, but still may catch somebody at the wrong day. And then that same thing, we're perpetuating what they're doing. So what type of symbolism would you all prefer? And just kind of put it in the chat and let me know where we can go with that. No trespassing says everything there is to know. Okay. All right. And like I said, we got the conspiratory side. And then we have things in plain sight that we can see that we didn't recognize. So those are things that we can do. All right. So yeah. So anybody want to give some answers to that? You know what I'm saying? And pretty much sigils. All right. So we want to learn sigil. Bucko says hello. At Bucko, I didn't even see Bucko, but he's in there. Bucko, what's up? Oh, there he is. Bucko said hello. What's up, Bucko? Positive use. Ada says all of it. Jane says, I wish my eyes could see through the illusions. Okay. Renee says symbolisms that protect us. Okay. All right. Keep it going. All right. Yeah. So those are things that we could talk about and do, right? And pretty much put it all into, retrospect, because one of the things about symbolism that I think that a lot of people, and let me give you a few quotes here. This is from Gertrude. She says, symbols are the language of something invisible spoken in the visible world. And which is true. If you really think about this quote, symbols are the language of something invisible spoken in a visible world. And that's probably a good quote to think about symbolism when we go there. In fact, here's another quote by Carl Jung, which, he talks about architects and everything else. Language is the origin of essence and simply the system of signs, symbols that denote real occurrences or the echo into the human soul. And so Carl Jung, as y'all know, talks about all the archetypes, but as he said, the symbols echoes the soul because it does. It was before language. It was before everything we do has some type of symbolism in it. Every animal that was put on this earth, every grain of salt, it all has some type of maybe esoteric meaning to it. If we were to look deeper into it, here's Manly P. Hall. He says symbolism is the language of mysteries. By symbols, men have ever sought to communicate with each other those thoughts which transcends the limitation of language. Somehow all of these people knew, and symbolism is, in symbols, is one of the greatest things that they hide from us, period. They have been hiding it from eons because it passes the consciousness. It passes it goes through, and it's not just subject to one thing. And here says every human being should know two languages, the language of society and the language of signs. One serves to communicate with other people. The other one serves to understand God's message. That is probably about one of the most profound of them all right there. And he's talking about symbolism. We should know language for society and the language of signs. One is to communicate with other people. The other one is to understand the gods. And you better believe the gods talk with symbols and symbolism. When you walk outside and the birds, fly in this direction and gives you something to let you know we're talking to you, or the ants walk up and drop something on you. I don't know, but it definitely tells you that those are things that we can do. So I think it's something, and it's been calling me to go that route. This is why I want to do the 30-day cleanse, and why it will be victorious, and keep you guys motivating me, knowing I'm doing it for us, you, and the support that everybody have, saying it out loud to there may be 1,000 people to watch this video. So the accountability, somebody may see me in a grocery store and be like, make sure you don't pick up that cupcake, and I ain't even got a cupcake, but they saw the video. They're just helping. Don't drink too much such and such, and be like, all right. And we're talking about no meat for 30 days. A pig at the time would have to dress up like a vegetable to get by this office. That's what was going to have to happen. And he wanted to sneak by here. He didn't want to get eaten. Dress up like a vegetable. Now he dressed up like a vegetable. In the next 30 days, he's going to get juiced. Of course, I won't eat no pigs anyway, but we're not going to do it. But yeah, let's encourage each other. And who wants to do 7 days next week? Maybe I get through the first 7 days. Someone else says, okay, Roderick, I'll do 7 days with you as accountability partner. You get some juice in or something, or maybe take a fast or something. I don't know. Or maybe just encourage or whatever. Email me, we'll talk on the phone too. contact@whythebigsecret.com. Send me a telephone number. I'll call you. And you'll be like, okay, I'll be your accountability partner for week 2. Somebody else said, I'll be your accountability partner for week 3. And I'll be your accountability partner for week 4. You know what I'm saying? And we just do it. Someone else said, out of nowhere, I just had this health kick, been a few months, and it's been great. Cool. Miss Layla says, get to juicing then. I'm going to do it. All right. And I think you used to live in Dallas, right? So you don't anymore. I think you said you used to live in this area or something, right? But yeah, we're going to do it. Symbolism and numerology go hand in hand. Yeah. Someone says, I'm going to start Fictitious. I don't know. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So we're going to do it. All right, I already put that on the air. He already said he's going to do it. And Unity. Yeah, we're going to get the juice in. We're going to do it. And then I'll be, you know what I'm saying? I think I'll have more energy, more, a lot of everything. And then we'll get out there and, but she's going to do the juicing for me. this month, or I'm gonna do my regular juices, which is gonna make the soups and all of the other potions and motions and stuff that I'll drink from all the teas and the remedies and all that, and then I'll still juice some with coconut water and some other stuff. Ada says she's starting a detox tomorrow. Yeah, okay. She said, I will be in Dallas next weekend. I'll support you. I have to think that I can, what can I lay aside for 30 days? All right, yeah, so like, yeah, how long are you gonna be in Dallas? Man, if you was coming in August the 23rd too, we're gonna have our meet and greet. It's gonna be inside. You know, we had one last month. We're gonna do it again. But yeah, make sure when you come, reach out. I think we are following each other on Instagram. So I'll send a contact number or whatever. And then yeah. And somebody said, you're lucky to have help. Yeah, I know, right? That was the biggest thing for it. And yeah, that was the biggest thing from that as well. I think the structure part of having someone to prepare, I think the meal prep, it's always been my biggest issues. And I think that's been the problem, Friday through Monday. So yes, please do. Okay, cool. We'll do that. And so I think meal prep has been the biggest issues, you know, that I've had, you know, or just trying to start, you know, doing it, coming back and not preparing, especially from the office to home, getting up, you know, whether, so, you know, going down to the gym, which I'm doing that now and everything else. And so, you know, we would have to do it pretty much. All right. So again, yeah. So I'll reach out to you. I think I have you on Instagram and put the number there and everything else. And we would do that. Someone says smaller portions. Yeah, I would say that. And again, we're going to do some sound healing, you know, on that Saturday. So if you all if you all to do that, you know, yeah, we're going to do some sound healing and everything else. I think it, you know, I'm going to continue to do that in sound bowls. You know, we will do that as well. All right. So someone said hardly eat. Yeah, right. Smaller portions. All right. So have anybody did a 30-day no meat clean? Remember that movie the guy did called Fat Something Sick or whatever? Remember that guy? I think he did vegetables and stuff for a while, and he did a total reset. Y'all remember that guy? He did like a whole total reset, if you remember him. I think it was Live, Sick, and something. It was a movie. Yeah, I think it was a movie. Something Sick and Nearly Dead was his but he fat, sick, and nearly dead. I think that's what it was. Yeah, yeah, I think that's, yeah, it was fat, sick, and nearly dead, and pretty much. I think it's Layla. Check your Instagram. Make sure I send it to the right person. I send my number. Yeah, let me see if I can put it on the thing here. This was, yeah, there we go. Y'all remember there was a TV show and he went from that to that. Remember, he was fat, sick, and nearly dead. And all he did was just vegetables or whatever. So it was a real good a real good show. Yeah, it was pretty interesting there. Ada said, I did 30 days, no meat, did juice and detox, only vegetable diet. Did it work out for you? Come on. Oh, Ella said I lost 100 pounds. Yeah, so I want to so my goal is to do 100 pounds this next year. And Yeah. And 150 over 2 years to all accumulative, right? And yeah. But I'm hoping to accomplish 15 or 20 just going on this juice stuff for 30 days and working out at the same time. So I'm hoping that'll just take me somewhere. He thought he trying to gain something. Get married. Shit. You'll gain some pounds overnight. Or you're already married, I know. But so maybe you got a stressless life. He said, I felt best ever. Okay. So is there anything I should expect though in the first week? Headaches, depression of because I'm not eating sugar, with the parasites get mad, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so she's making a lot of stuff with my gut. When I put up the whole video of the whole shopping experience, and then when she's talking about everything, I'll put that up pretty soon. I'll clip it and put it out. So, yeah, she is talking about that, and so I think that will work pretty much too. So, is there anything I should expect though? Like he says, we're eating dead carcasses. Is meat or carcasses, right? It's dead, decomposing, no life but disease. Man, I would love to just turn into a cow eating, vegetable eating. I'm gonna give it a shot. Actually, I'm gonna be victorious, to be exactly. It's gonna go down, and we're gonna do that. Yeah, it's gonna go down, and it's gonna be cool to do it. All right, so all right, I'm going to put the all right, so I just put a link in the description. Anybody want to hop on, give them some encouragement before we get out of here? Because I'm gonna start it this weekend. Turn your camera on, but give me some encouragement. Or if you tried it before, you can hop on in here and say some things. We have Deb is in the house. What's going on, Deborah 1061? How are you doing? Where are you from? Where are you from? And you know what? Why don't y'all tell me where y'all from too? Let's get to know everybody real quick tonight since we chilling. We won't be here tomorrow, so put what city you live in, so we'll know where everybody come from, where you are. She said, if you're speaking of parasites, please be sure to use a binder. A binder like what, a book? I don't know nothing about all this stuff. So when you say a binder, what is that? She's from Arkansas. All right. A binder for sure. Well, I'm sure Aset probably know. But anyway, what is a binder? What are y'all talking about? All right. We from North Carolina. We got Florence, North Carolina in the house, DC, the Bay Area. Are y'all all over the place? Maryland, Michigan, Canada. All right, y'all all over the place. Cool. How cool? How cool? Croton, New York. Yeah, Charlotte. All right, y'all all over the place. North Carolina. He says red planet fruit. A binder that kills eggs. Okay, so what is a binder? Shanti is from Houston. Oh, we got Texas in the house. All right. Dollar signs from Texas. Of course, I'm in Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. Renee, thank you. Love you back. She says no, like clay or food grade charcoal. It binds parasites and eggs so they'll be carried out the body. Okay. I'm sure she's pretty knowledgeable, so I'm sure we're gonna, because I think I get some wormwood too. I'm gonna order that or some stuff too. That's the main thing that I want to experience. I want to experience the parasites gone and know that they're gone and see the effect. Had they been holding me back from something? Have it been, inhibiting my thoughts or my planning or, focus or all of that? I want to know if all of that is going to feel better. We have Orlando in the house. Dayton, Ohio is in the house. Welcome, welcome. And Judith says, sis knows what she's doing. She'll get you right, Roddy. Yeah, she's really good. You're gonna meet her when you come down to the thing. So London is in the house. All right, then. Albuquerque, New Mexico. So when you do a cleanse, the parasites start laying eggs, so the binder kills the eggs. Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to get them out. I want to get them out. If they in there, I want to get them out. If they're talking to me, I want to get them out. If they're the one telling me to go over there and eat some sugar, I want to get them out. No, that wasn't bad, but yeah, I don't know the whole thing of parasites, but I want to get them out. Yeah. So we get some wormwood, and we got a lot of stuff. Like I said, we did a lot of. I'm going to make the whole video, and so she explains each time she picked up something, so you all can hear it and know if you try some of the stuff, because she's really good at that. And like I said, she made these copper things for me as well, and she's going to bring a lot of them that she does to the meet and greet. So, and some of her concoctions and things that she does. And like I said, she has her garden and stuff is real nice. Garlic. All right. Rowboat says, okay, so she said, yes, wormwood, black walnut, and all of the oregano. Okay. And he says, I've done parasite clean, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and your shake is great. Now I bought some papayas that I'm gonna chew the seeds too. And in that too. They live on sugar, so does cancer, and cancer is a parasite. Okay. I picture them as worms in MIB. All right. Herbs, garlic. Interesting. Very interesting. It was a blessing, Randy. You were meant to meet her. You know what? It was kind of, Ada, it really was, because I wrote down in my journal probably a couple of weeks back that I wanted to, again, be a better version of myself, and I needed help. And like I said, when we did the event, she came up and brought all the sound bowls out there. Like I said, we had a great time. And then, of course, I talked to her and got to know her, while we was there. And then she started like, hey, this and this and that. And then she knew I would struggle with some things. She said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We'll go shopping. You get everything. And I asked her, and I said, well, why would you do this for me? And I was really honest. I was like, why? And the answer she gave me was just really beautiful and surreal, that, not only she felt divine to do it, but, she wants to help people as well. But also just the fact that she said, I had to ask the ancestors about you and all of this. And she said they ended up telling me to contact you and of course, and everything else. And I think it's when you're on your purpose of doing things, I'm starting to find out that, no matter about the resources, there are people that's going to help you. There are people that are responsible to give you some assistance and make it less difficult for you. Now, of course, this last piece of this journey is me. I'm gonna have to drink the stuff, I'm gonna have to go through it. But the other part is to detach from the mind. The mind is and don't let it be the controller of the situation. So I think it's pretty interesting to do that. He said, no Martian kale chips. Okay. Yeah, no kale chips. And your bio improve, whatever will improve before you no longer fill in the bad bacteria. They will die, leaving good bacteria. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, when should I feel like some results? Like the first week? What is the toughest part? The first 7 days? I've heard people say they had flu-like symptoms because they're releasing toxins and you got to stick through it. And after the first week, it becomes easy peasy, or the second week, easy peasy. I think at this point, what do y'all think? You say, I agree. I learned this. All right. Mind over matter. Okay. Yeah. God sends people, I believe. I know. I won't even have to believe that one. I know. By 2 weeks. Okay. It varies. Yes, you may get sick. Ooh. Yeah. A friend of mine said, my homie, he was like, hey, man, he said, I'm gonna watch your lives if you sitting up there talking, and He said you on that juice and whatever, you're gonna be like, you might start to get lightheaded or something. I'm like, damn, that was scary. That was real scary. 7 to 10 days to detox, but I'm doing a 30-day. So I'm sure I'll get used, and then I'll do a reset and then start eating things that I like, but to taste better, I would assume. Someone say you're going to get lightheaded. So can I still live stream then? Because I'm going to be live streaming 4 days a week doing this stuff. Whoa. Is there any precautions I need to take? Do I need not be here for a month? Man, y'all all agreeing? So I'm going to be up here goofy or something, be like, look, I ain't saying nothing about that. Shoot. So I'm going to be saying some stuff and y'all be like, yeah, that dude had the juice in it or something. Well, there ain't even no messages coming back through. Y'all like, no, don't tell him that. All right. Roberta said I can still function. Yeah, y'all got me like, look, when she said you gonna get lightheaded, I'm like,
can you say that again? I'm sorry, what?
Look, I'm looking at her. Shoot, she's talking about, you gonna get lightheaded. I'm like,
can you say that again? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So somebody said, yeah. So yeah, but I think my circle is good, man. My circle is really good, and it's gonna be great to do, and yeah. So I can't wait to go there, and we will do that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. So my circle is I got a good circle. But I mean, y'all, like I said, y'all got me scared though. Also, dreams. Come on now, y'all really digging it in now. I'm gonna be dreaming, and shit. I had a dream this morning, and he said, "Does Earth grow space vegetables?" I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. Also, dreams become lucid. All right, man. Okay, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna go through it then. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go through it. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna go through it. Man, yeah. But I'm ready. I'm ready. I heard it helps with OBEs, out of body experiences, really? But like I said, I'm gonna at the end of the show, each show, I'm gonna tell y'all how I'm feeling. Day 2, day 3, or whatever day it is. And we're gonna talk about that. But I like this. Like this says, y'all can't see it, but it says luminous. Ellie said you got it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. 100%. We're gonna make it happen and get it down. I got my malas. I got everything. Yeah. Well, we have an out-of-body experience, then, boy, that'll be deep. Yeah, that'll be deep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna have an out-of-body experience. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna share the daily stuff. I'm gonna be like, like Orphan Annie. Yesterday was playing awful. Somebody gonna say, you can say that again. Yesterday was playing awful. But it's that. I'll be singing a song. But hopefully it's the great reset of things, though. Basically, I want to improve what I'm doing. I want to be able to do it. All right. So again, accountability. So I will start. I have a contract in there I have also I got to do a affirmation stuff in my own voice, and I'm gonna send her the audio, and she's gonna do a sound bowl and do some sound bowls and some stuff and around it, and then send it back. So it's going to be my own affirmations to myself with the sound singing bowls and all that. And so she's going to put that together, and we will, you know, do that as well. And oh, y'all laugh. Oh, because I said that, Annie. That was one of my favorite movies. I'm poor as a mouse. I'm rich as a miser. I don't need anything but you. Yeah, that used to be my song. I used to love that movie. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you're powerful. Your body is going to line up the F up. Yes, that's what I want. I want so that it all read, grow a new body. Yeah, okay, and get the unstoppable flow. And I want to do it as a continuation, right? Because I want to open up. I want to connect. I want to become, and I am already, but we're going to become where we need to be. Because again, the symbolism things is something I've been dreaming of for a year and a half. It just keeps coming to, I can't get it out of it. Much as I try to ignore it, it keeps coming back saying, no, this is your path. You got to do it. You have to do it. You know, people will like it. They'll learn from it. They can study. And there's some other stuff that I'm going to do. I'm also trying to do on when we do our meet and greet, try to set up a way that we all can. I'm going to see if we can do a live podcast that day, set up with the cameras and live. And then we probably won't see everybody, but we'll get to a point where people are coming up, and then I'll talk to everybody live on the podcast or something. Because I'm going to be a superhero. Shit, yeah. Have some superpowers. Yeah. Now, I think I said it before. I think it'd be time to, you'll notice it. Now, that's what someone else told me, Goddess Thorn, that they did a juicing, and they broke out with all kind of skin stuff. I don't know what that was about. Maybe they had stuff under their skin or whatever. But, yeah. Yeah, so I think it was just kind of one of those things to do, and pretty much. But they said that they broke out like a skin rashes and stuff. You know, maybe that was toxins or something in their body, and maybe they didn't drink enough water or something. I'm not for sure. But you know, yeah, be a superhero, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a superhero, and yeah. And then we can travel. We can do stuff. But like I said, I have a new YouTube idea that I'm working on. So it's gonna be nice. Y'all gonna really enjoy it. I've been really studying what to do, the branding, how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be just me out and about. So that's another reason I want to get a little more. Not only reason to get a little more, but the reason to get, you know, in more of a healthier state. Yeah, that's what they told me, Aqua Girl. Rashes. The dude was like, he's like, man. He said, man, I detox and stuff. I started breaking out with rashes. Scared the hell out of me. This was about 2 years ago. I wasn't even thinking about that then, but this is what to do. I still remember it though. But yeah, he was like, rashes. All right. See, Ada said drinks a lot of water. Timeless power. Keto flu. Y'all coming up with some stuff that's got me shivering over here. The hell is keto flu? It just sounds bad. You should journal and take a weekly picture. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna probably videotape it. I need to journal it, right? Because it will be pretty good to, you know, start out with the weight on the scale, because I got a scale, and just keep journaling it, the feeling, what I'm going through. Yeah. Yeah, and Yeah, Doc B sent me one of his big old packages with everything he made in it. But this, I think, this approach that I'm going to take here, walking, going, getting exercise and stuff, the singing bowls, practicing stillness. This is what the whole agenda of this is to become still, and to block out all this stuff and become still, get rid of the ego, separate from the ego, so to speak, get to know I am. Everything is me. I am it, right? And so I think that'll be one of the things. He said, my weight loss journey took 2 years, 6 months, and I look the same. It takes a while. Okay. Judith said he would be someone worth calling. Yeah, me and Dr. B are good friends, we talk on the phone. He just said, give me your address, and then he sent me like one of his big giant packages. So I got a lot of his stuff. He sent it to me and stuff. So yeah. And so I have a lot of his, I think it's what parasite stuff cleanses, all of these things and everything else. And one of the things that really impressed me with Aset, that's her name, is out of all these things that I ever done, all this stuff that I ever done, she never said, all you have to do is. That is probably one of the most things that I am very, and I don't do people like that either, but I get a lot of people that will say, well, all you got to do is, and I don't know if it makes you feel belittling, but it does make you think like, am I feeling crazy because I can't conquer this? And she prepared. She said, it's going to be different for you. You're going to have to focus. You can do it. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You're going to fight your mind. You're going to have to fight that battle. She said, I'll be your support system. You want weekly? You want me to, however, and I told her I was going to talk to my audience and I was going to put it out there and have you all support me too. But she never, ever said, all you have to do is. Yeah. And I got a lot of weight right here in the muscle because I think I told y'all the story that there was a time that I ended up was out last year and this little boy came up to me, touched me on the stomach and said, when your baby due? And I was like, what? And at the moment, I felt sorry for him and then I felt sorry for me, but really for him. And then I was thinking about his parent. His mom was over there. She was pregnant, and I was like, he don't know nothing, but yeah, he was like at least 9 years old, 8 or 9. He says, when your baby due? I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I have lost a lot. I've lost about 60 pounds since last 9 or 8 months. So I'm doing better. Now I'm just right at that threshold of, the knee pains have receded, getting some of that weight off. And then the other day I was picking up some dog food for Zulu and it was a 32-pound bag. And I was picking up the bag and I was like, this is heavy. Man, I used to have this on my knees and I had like 2 bags and I was walking with them and I was like, you can feel it. I'm like, this was on my body 8 months ago. Yeah. And yeah, the little boy said, when your baby due? I was like, this dude needs hit. Obviously, that's all he's seen all his life. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was like, that's all you seen is somebody pregnant? Because you walking up to a man? Now, I know that we in this world where it's possible that they're teaching this stuff, but I was like, yeah. When you go to the gym, try stepping machine. It's a killer. I don't have the needs for that one, Nico. I'd still get shot in here, every 2 or 3, 4 or 5 months, and but they done got better. They put in that gel, they put gel in them or something one time. Well, I don't know if it's real gel or whatever. But yeah. But I know it's the mind. I know it's the Jedi mind that we're gonna do. And yeah, I don't think they are. Yeah. So I'm like, I mean, I used to run track, play football in college and all that stuff. Still have high school track records. And, then I got, injured and started gaining. And then later on after that, I got stressed out. That little boy was confused, Renee. He was like, I felt sorry for him for a minute. I wanted to say something to his parents, his mom. And I was like, and he wasn't joking. He was serious. But I just kind of thought about it that night. I said, that's all he knows. I'm like, he doesn't know anything else. That's all he knows. And maybe that's something that he needs some help with. The Eye of the Tiger. That is one of my theme songs. Dum, dum, dum. The Eye of the Tiger, so yeah. We're going to do it. I was a little nervous at first, but I had to make the commitment, and now I'm more curious than anything. But I know I'm going to take it one day at a time, one sip at a time. But like I said, the main part is her organizing, because I wouldn't know how to put all the concoctions together, when to drink it, how much to drink, or snack. Here's your snacks, and but I'm gonna take a picture. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm gonna say, you use me as your prototype. She doesn't know it, but if I document everything and then she's coaching, and we get 100 pounds off, done deal. She can help a lot. She already helped people, but they'll put her on the map. I don't think she's doing it for that reason. She's not into it for that kind of stuff, but still, I think it'll help some stuff. Yeah, I think it'll help them pretty much. And then like I said, I want to get out more. I had an opportunity to get out last weekend. I had a great time and stuff. So, but I want to get out more now. I've been not doing anything for 2 or 3 years when all of that pandemic stuff was hitting, and working on this stuff. Now the book is about ready, was pre-published, and then a couple other projects I'm working on, and then other stuff. So it's now time to get out and focus. And now we're going to really concentrate on our, like I said, we're going to do the meetup every third Saturday from here on out. And so some of y'all can come at different times. And we're going to do some grounding. We did grounding last week. I was out there in the trees and laying down, and she was doing the sound bowl healing, and I was doing doing the stuff, the whatever, and it was pretty cool. And fasting can be dangerous. It's juicing, not fasting, though, right? It's just juice diet's not fasting, right? Yeah. I don't know when the book is going to come out. Forbidden Knowledge is the publisher of that, so I don't know. I need to get with him on that, Diane. But it's still in pre-sale, as far as I know right now. Yeah. But I'm not fasting, right? I'm not. It's not considered a fast. It's just more of a juice diet. But I'm about to put up my other foods and stuff and throw it all away, and then be like, okay, not today. Yeah. So we'll put up all the other foods. But anyway, my email address is, let me see if I can put it on the screen. Dry fast. What's a dry fast? I'll be more happy to do that keto stuff. The keto diet stuff. Okay. So I don't have to get with him on that night. I'll talk to him and see. Thank you for PRing it, but I'll get with him on it. So the email address is right there on the screen. And send me an email and some contact information. and then maybe we can put it together accountability. Otherwise, I'll just come here each time we do a live stream, tell you how the day went in day one. Dry fast or no water, no food. Oh no, heck no. Shit, I'll be falling out right here in front of y'all. Now I see what y'all talking about, Deborah. Yeah, that probably is dangerous. Is that like starvation, right? I'll be like, I followed the no diet. Real meal per day, fasted is not dangerous. It's great for cleaning your, yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be a little something I wouldn't do. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. All right, so like I said, we've been here. I want to get ready to get out of here for the weekend. And if you don't eat, the body eats as reserve. Shit, my body might not even like what's in there. He'd be like, I ain't eating that. I'm not gonna eat you. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Stream, my body be like, we ain't eating all that. It's unhealthy. Yeah, because if your body eats you and you're already unhealthy, the toxin's gonna be right back in yourself, right? No? Am I right or wrong? I don't know. It's better not to eat than eat bad things. However, we have to pray over it. Watermelon. Shoo. My body gonna be like, no, dude, we ain't eating that. Well, y'all getting serious now. Y'all get real serious. Some of y'all, look, I bet some of y'all haven't done some of that stuff. But I'm gonna tape it though. I'm gonna record it, the whole journey. And a true dry fast is actually good for the body. Always consult your doctor before 24 to 40 hours without water. Shoo. What about well, I ain't gonna say that. I've done a 3-day, but I won't go any further. Black seeds and all that. All right, so we're gonna do it. Okay, so we're going to see how we can do a lot more things with symbolism. We're gonna see where we can go with that. See if there's a few more things that we can do. We're gonna try to put all that together. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Yeah, so we're going to do it. Juice the whole watermelon. That's what someone I said was telling me that today. She said juice the rind and everything. Well, I'm going to take my body to the limit, though. I'm going to get fine and stuff. I'm going to get better looking and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Make it all look good. Like I say, start getting out. Maybe go on a date or two next year. And, get out of that single man status, Yeah, I've been single for a long time. Yeah, so I think it's time. All right, y'all. So I love each and every one of you. I'm going to get ready to get this weekend started. I got to take Mom. It's the first of the month tomorrow, so I'll be busy all morning. Well, I got a doctor's appointment, and then I got to take Mom on her, everything tomorrow. Yeah, I got to take Yeah, I got to take mom on everything tomorrow, so we'll be busy all day. I'll be in the car, all these locations, and everything else. So I would do that with my mom, and like I said, I like my little bracelets here. Yeah, they're real cool. So thank her for making these. And again, this one says, "Who am I? Who am I?" This one says, "Luminous." Oh, this is one of my favorites right here. It is real put together. Yeah. Hi to mom. Yeah, I would do that. Everybody's eating just watermelon. Not everybody can do that. I had some watermelon juice today, but I've seen that on TikTok, Lala, that people are eating watermelons and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, I've seen that on TikTok. A lot of people are doing that. So I don't know about that one, just eating watermelon, but all right, we got a super sticker tonight. All right. Let's give a shout out to Nico. Thank you. Yeah, got a super sticker and all that. All right. So anyway, I may put some of these, if she makes some, I'll put them on the website. These are real nice, y'all. Real nice, especially thick ones right here with this brass or whatever, copper or brass. And especially the luminous. I think y'all will really like that one, but these are real nice. And then, of course, you know, I have my mala beads. This is my protection ones that Judith made. All right. With the tiger's eyes crystal, quartz crystals, jade, which is one of my favorites. And then I have my new one that we have, and that one is pretty cool. And then I have my whatever, not whatever, but this is jade too. Our friend Tara, I think Tara gave me this when we a year or two ago, when we was at the Conscious Awards or something, or somebody who. No, it wasn't Tara giving it. Oh, it was girl from the Bay, I think. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So anyway, love you guys. I really do. It's just been a great journey. We're going to do a lot of great stuff. We're going to continue to do more. I appreciate you giving your precious gift as your time being here. And we're just going to watch it improve and let us all witness everything so that we can motivate other people too and do that. And then hopefully some days that some of you I know some of y'all got YouTube channels that we can help cross promote and everything, because I think everybody want to explore that option for the future. YouTube is still in infancy stage. You can do so much, or just really give out your wisdom, help people, and everything else. And so video is pretty cool to do. It takes a lot to really commit to it, but other than that, if you do, you won't be disappointed from it. That's for sure. And so I think that's a beautiful thing that people could do. And she says, "Be real. Do you like it when you get a big package without having someone to walk you through it?" Be real. Do you like when you get a big package without having someone walk you through it? What do you mean by that? If you, yeah, what do you mean by that? I'm lost. Or maybe I missed something. Or were you talking to me? But yeah, I'll wait for your answer. But maybe somebody that can interpret that. Be real. Do you like when you get a big package without having someone walk you through it? What's a big package? Am I missing something? Yeah, so tell me what you're talking about there. I'll wait for your response. Be real. Do you like when you get a big package without having someone walk you through it? Maybe I'm lost. That's what I have laughing my ass off. What is that? I know enough of y'all in there see that on the screen. She hadn't said on the back yet, but what are y'all? Am I missing something though? I mean, I just didn't understand the question, but I'm intrigued. Big package. What are y'all? Why everybody getting something I don't get? Why everybody laughing out loud? I don't get it. What is the meaning? All right, Miss Layla, help me out. Don't leave me the parasite package. See, y'all minds are somewhere else. I didn't even go where some of y'all were going. It was just a bunch of instructions in the package, right? And take this and takes that. He was just like, here, and I figured I can read the instructions on the bottles. I know, right? Ain't that right? Their minds was all over the place because I wasn't trying to go there, and I didn't even know what it means. That's why I was honestly, in my, childhood thoughts of, is it Santa Claus? You know what I'm saying? Y'all, y'all funny. Yeah, I mean, when I got the box, it had like everything he makes in there. It was a big old box, and he had all this stuff. And it was just, he put all the instructions of stuff in there, and he was like, "Hey, man, just take it and tell me, let me know how you feel." See, all y'all laughing because I didn't get it either. She meant Dr. B. Pat. Yeah, I didn't know. It was just hanging out there. So, I'm like, I don't know, Now, I'm sure some of y'all, Dr. Strange, what did he say? He was like, let me go back. Dr. Strange said that threw me off too because he was like, oh, that's what I have. He said, that's what I have, laughing my ass. A big package without walking somebody through. Y'all funny. Judith talking about, I can't with the big package, need instructions. Oh, man, that's why I'm going to date. I'm going to start dating again, y'all. I'm going to be ready for all that stuff. I think I'm ready to. I am. I've been single a while. I'll be ready for the quick jokes, even though they ain't what she meant, but y'all caught on to something totally different. Y'all asses was like going in for it. Hang out there, Roderick. I need to go to sleep. Yeah, I know. Y'all funny. But I appreciate y'all. And Layla, like I said, Lala or whatever, make sure, you got the number. Hit me when you get to town. Everyone else, y'all funny. I'll see y'all Monday. By Monday, I would have already started, so I should be in day Sunday, Monday should be 1 or 2, or Saturday, I think would be the first day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we will go for that. But I love y'all. Y'all funny, man. Y'all are really funny. Y'all are really funny. Y'all hang out. So, all right, y'all take care. Love y'all. See y'all Monday. Let's roll.
UFOs. UAPs. Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at the fly!